Hello and welcome to Epic Storytime Chronicles.
Every evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline of the bustling city, Lila took her spot at the corner of 5th and Main, where the glow of street lamps began to paint the world in sepia tones. Her guitar case lay open at her feet, coins and bills scattered within its velvet-lined interior, each piece of currency a small testament to the kindness of strangers. But Lila didn't play for the money, not really. Every note she sang, every chord she strummed was for her mother, whose laughter had once filled their small apartment, now quieted by the harsh reality of illness. Lila's mother suffered from a rare condition that required costly treatments that insurance refused to cover fully. Despite working 2 jobs, the bills piled up like snowdrifts against a door after a winter storm, each one a barrier to the warmth and safety on the other side. Tonight, as usual, Lila's voice rose above the murmur of the city, a clear, melodious sound that seemed to weave through the traffic noise and the chatter of pedestrians. Her song choice was always careful, a blend of popular hits and old classics, hoping to catch the ear of anyone who passed by. That evening, her choice was a soulful rendition of a song about hope and perseverance. As she sang, her voice carried the weight of her worries, yet it also held a buoyant note of hope. The song ended on a high note, sustained and pure, and for a moment the usual cacophony of the city seemed to pause in respect. Among the usual crowd of passers-by, a man stopped, his posture one of casual elegance, his coat tailored perfectly to his frame. Unlike the others who hurried on their way or paused only long enough to drop a coin into Lila's guitar case, he stayed. Leaning against the lamppost, he listened intently, his eyes fixed on Lila as she transitioned into another song. This man was Jonathan Carrick, a figure well known in the city not just for his wealth, which was substantial, but for his investments in charitable causes. Philanthropy was his passion, but so was his anonymity in such endeavors. Few could claim they had seen him at the sites of his generosity. As Lila's set continued, more people gathered, drawn by the beauty of her voice and the passion of her performance. Coins clinked against the guitar case and bills fluttered down like leaves in the fall. But Lila hardly noticed the growing pile. Her thoughts were with her mother, who was facing another round of treatment the next morning, the outcome uncertain. When the crowd began to thin, Jonathan approached, his footsteps deliberate. Lila finished her song and smiled at him, her way of thanking him for his attention. "That was beautiful," Jonathan said, his voice warm. "You have a remarkable talent." "Thank you, sir," Lila replied, her cheeks coloring slightly under his gaze. "I do what I can to help my mom. She's very sick and—" Her voice trailed off, caught by emotion. Jonathan nodded, his expression softening. "I understand more than you might think. Is there a way I can help?" Lila was taken aback. Offers of help were rare, and never this direct or potentially significant. I'm not sure," she stuttered. "I just sing here to make whatever I can for her treatments." "Let's talk," Jonathan suggested, gesturing to a nearby cafe. "Maybe there's something more I can do." As they walked to the cafe, Lila felt a flutter of hope. Could this stranger really change their fortunes? She dared not believe too quickly, but as they sat down and began to talk, the possibility seemed to grow, like a melody building to a crescendo, ready to burst forth into something beautiful and transformative. Inside the warm glow of the cafe, with mugs of steaming coffee before them, Jonathan's presence brought an almost tangible sense of comfort. Lila's initial apprehension ebbed away as they talked, replaced by a cautious optimism. Jonathan listened intently, his gaze never wavering as Lila shared more about her mother's illness and the struggles they faced with medical bills and insurance companies. Jonathan sipped his coffee thoughtfully. "You know, Lila, I believe in using my resources to make a direct impact. I've supported various health initiatives over the years, and I think I might be able to help your mother more substantially than just a donation." Lila's eyes widened, her heart pounding with a mix of hope and disbelief. "Are you serious? I mean, that would be incredible, but why would you help us? You don't even know us." Jonathan smiled, a gentle, reassuring smile that seemed to smooth the creases of worry from Lila's brow. "Sometimes helping someone in need doesn't require a reason beyond the need itself. And when I see someone as dedicated and talented as you, working so hard for a loved one, it inspires me to act." He set down his mug and leaned forward, his expression earnest. "Here's what I propose. I have connections at some of the best medical facilities in the country. I can arrange for your mother to be seen by specialists, and I'll cover all the costs. All I ask in return is that you keep sharing your music, not just on the streets, but perhaps at some events I host. It's a fair exchange, don't you think?" Lila felt a tear slip down her cheek, a tear of relief. "That's more than fair. It's a miracle," she managed to say, her voice choked with emotion. Jonathan handed her a business card. "Why don't you take this and discuss it with your mother? If she agrees, I'll make all the arrangements. You can call me any time, day or night." As they parted ways that evening, Lila felt as if she were walking on air. The weight of the world seemed lighter on her shoulders. She hurried home, eager to share the incredible news with her mother. Her mother, weakened yet resilient, listened as Lila recounted the evening's unexpected turn of events. At first, her mother was skeptical, wary of the strings that might be attached to such a generous offer. But as Lila explained Jonathan's sincerity and the genuine warmth she felt from him, her mother's fears slowly dissolved into hopeful tears. They decided to accept Jonathan's offer, a decision that felt like stepping into a new chapter of their lives, one filled with possibilities that had seemed unreachable just hours before. Lila called Jonathan the next day, her voice steady and full of newfound hope. "Yes, we accept your help," she said, feeling the power of those words, the promise they carried. "Wonderful," Jonathan's voice came through the phone, clear and warm. "I'll get everything set up. We'll beat this together, Lila." As the call ended, Lila felt a profound sense of gratitude. The road ahead would surely have its challenges, but for the first time in a long time, it seemed paved with more than just obstacles. It was lined with hope. As the first rays of morning light streamed through the curtains of their modest apartment, Lila felt a sense of renewal. The agreement with Jonathan had been set into motion, and already there was a scheduled appointment for her mother at one of the top medical centers in the city. The relief that came with this development was palpable, warming the chilly air of early spring. Later that week, Lila accompanied her mother to the sprawling medical complex, a stark contrast to the small clinics they were accustomed to. The facility was equipped with cutting-edge technology and staffed by specialists who were experts in their fields. The sense of being in capable hands was immediate and comforting. During the initial consultation, the doctors were thorough and compassionate. They proposed a detailed treatment plan that was both aggressive and promising. Lila's mother, usually reserved, allowed herself a smile, squeezing Lila's hand tightly as they discussed the possibilities. "This is the first time I've felt hopeful in a long time," her mother whispered as they left the hospital, her spirits lifted by the prospect of effective treatment. Encouraged by this new path, Lila found her daily routines infused with a newfound energy. Her evening performances on the street corner took on a different tone. There was a lighter, more joyful quality to her music now, reflecting the hope that filled her. Jonathan stayed true to his word, not only facilitating the medical care but also introducing Lila to new opportunities. He invited her to perform at several charity events he hosted. These gatherings were elegant, attended by influential figures eager to support various causes. Lila's performances were met with enthusiastic applause, and soon her reputation as a talented singer began to grow beyond the street corner. It was at one of these events that Lila met Clara, a music producer who was immediately captivated by Lila's voice and her poignant story. Clara approached her after the performance with an offer that took Lila's breath away. "I believe your voice deserves a wider audience," Clara said, her eyes bright with excitement. "How would you feel about recording a few songs in a professional studio? I think we could create something really special together." Overwhelmed but excited, Lila agreed. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity. She spent hours in the studio, working closely with Clara, who was not only a producer but also a mentor. Together, they selected songs that resonated with Lila's journey, each track imbued with the emotions of her experiences. The recording process was both exhilarating and exhausting. Lila poured her heart into every note, driven by the desire to make the most of the opportunity she had been given. When the EP was finally completed, she listened to the playback, tears streaming down her face. It was more than music. It was a testament to her journey, her struggles, and the unexpected kindness that had changed her life. The EP was released to critical acclaim, capturing the attention of the local media and music lovers alike. Lila's story, highlighted in interviews and articles, inspired many who heard it, spreading her message of hope and resilience. Through it all, Lila remained grounded, always remembering why she started singing in the first place: to help her mother. With the treatment progressing well and the doctors optimistic about the outcomes, Lila felt as if they were finally emerging from under the shadow of despair into the light of possibility. Her evenings at the street corner continued, though now more people stopped to listen, recognizing her from the coverage she had received. Each performance was a reminder of where she had started and how far she had come, a bridge from her past to her promising future. The ripple effects of Lila's burgeoning music career were felt not just in her own life, but also in the vibrant community that had once only known her as the street corner singer. With each song she recorded and every performance she delivered, Lila became a symbol of hope and the transformative power of kindness. Her success was not just a personal victory, it was a collective joy shared by those who had supported her through her humble beginnings. As autumn approached, the city seemed to take on a new character. The leaves turned golden and amber, mirroring the warmth and richness of Lila's evolving journey. During this time, Jonathan continued to play a pivotal role. He facilitated not just her mother's medical needs, which were now being managed with promising results, but also encouraged Lila to leverage her growing platform for greater good. "You have a voice that can reach hearts, Lila," Jonathan would often say. "Use it to not only sing, but also to speak for those who can't." Taking this advice to heart, Lila started working with local charities, helping to raise awareness and funds for causes close to her heart, particularly those supporting other families grappling with medical crises. Her concerts were no longer just musical events, they were gatherings that brought the community together for a cause. In the midst of this whirlwind of events, the holiday season began to make its presence felt. With the festive spirit in the air, Lila planned a special concert to celebrate the community that had given her so much. It was to be held in the local park, with lanterns lighting up the night and all proceeds going to the local children's hospital. The event was a resounding success. Families came out in droves, wrapped in scarves and hats, sipping hot cocoa as they listened to Lila sing beneath the stars. Her mother, now stronger and more vibrant than she had been in months, watched from the front row, her eyes glistening with pride. As the night drew to a close, Lila performed a new song she had written just for the occasion. It was a piece that celebrated life's unexpected miracles and the beauty of community support. The audience was captivated, hanging on to every note, every lyric that spoke of gratitude and hope. After the concert, while the crowd dispersed under the gentle glow of the lanterns, a young woman approached Lila. She was shy, holding a small handmade card. "I used to walk by you singing on the street when my little brother was in the hospital," the woman said, her voice trembling slightly. "Your songs kept me hopeful during those tough nights. This is just a small thank you." Lila accepted the card, touched by the profound impact her music had. Inside was a drawing of Lila singing under the street lamp, a beacon of hope in the darkness. This moment reaffirmed Lila's belief in the power of her art. Her journey had taught her that music was more than melody and rhythm. It was a lifeline, a means of connection, a way to bring light to the darkest of times. With winter setting in, the city covered in a blanket of snow, Lila felt a contentment she hadn't known in years. Her evenings were still spent at her usual corner on 5th and Main, but now she was not just a busker singing for survival. She was a beacon of hope, a voice for the voiceless, and a living proof that kindness could indeed change a life. As she sang into the chilly night, her heart was warm, filled with the love of a community that had become her extended family. As winter melted into spring, Lila's life continued to unfold with new chapters of opportunity and growth. The success of her community concert had not only strengthened her local ties, but also caught the attention of larger organizations interested in her unique story and talents. One crisp morning, Lila received a call from a well-known cultural foundation, inviting her to perform at a national music festival scheduled for the summer. This festival, Celebrated for showcasing emerging talents alongside established artists, was a dream platform for any musician. Lila, with her roots deep in the struggle and triumph of everyday life, was exactly the kind of story they wanted to amplify. Excitement coursed through her as she shared the news with her mother, who was now well into a recovery that seemed just as miraculous as Lila's sudden rise. Together, they marveled at how far they had come, from the depths of despair to the cusp of national recognition. As the date of the festival approached, Lila devoted herself to preparation. She collaborated with Clara to refine her set list and stage presence. The songs were a mixture of her popular street performances and tracks from her EP, each chosen to convey her journey and the universal themes of hope, resilience, and gratitude. The festival was held in a sprawling outdoor venue, bathed in the golden light of a perfect summer day. Backstage, Lila felt a flutter of nerves, a sensation she hadn't felt since her first few performances. She peered out at the crowd, a sea of faces eager for music that moved and mattered. When her turn came, the introduction was brief but poignant. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to be inspired by a voice that sings not from the throat but from the heart, Lila Harper. The applause that greeted her was warm and welcoming. As she stepped into the spotlight, guitar in hand, the nerves dissolved, replaced by a profound sense of purpose. Her first song, a ballad about overcoming life's obstacles, captivated the audience from the first chord. Lila's performance was a triumph. The emotional depth of her music resonated deeply with the diverse crowd, many of whom were hearing her for the first time. Her set ended with a standing ovation, a collective embrace from a crowd moved by her spirit and story. After the festival, offers poured in from various record labels, each eager to sign the new artist who had stolen the show. Lila and Clara reviewed each proposal carefully, eventually settling on a label that understood her vision and promised creative freedom. The signing was a celebration in itself, attended by her family, friends, and even Jonathan, who had been instrumental in her rise. "None of this would have been possible without the support and love I received from each of you," Lila said during the toast, her eyes sparkling with tears of joy. With a record deal in hand, Lila embarked on the next stage of her career with gusto. Her debut album was a collection of heartfelt songs, each telling a piece of her story, each a tribute to the people and experiences that had shaped her. The album launch was another milestone, marked by a concert in the very park where she had held her fundraiser the previous year. This time, however, she was not just a local singer, but a rising star. The event was a full-circle moment, a celebration of her roots and her wings. As she sang under the starlit sky, surrounded by the love of her community and the promise of tomorrow, Lila knew she had found her path, not just in music, but in life. Her journey had taught her that every challenge was an opportunity, every ending a beginning, and every song a chance to change the world, one note at a time. With the release of her debut album, Lila's life took on the rhythmic pace of a well-composed song, each day bringing its own melody of experiences and opportunities. The success of her music opened doors that once seemed forever out of reach, and now, more than ever, she was determined to weave her newfound influence into the broader tapestry of societal change. The album not only charted on several music lists, but also became a favorite on streaming platforms, where listeners from around the world connected with her poignant lyrics and soulful melodies. As her audience grew, so did the demands on her time and talent. Interviews, performances, and public appearances quickly filled her calendar, each event a chance to share her story and inspire others. Despite her busy schedule, Lila remained deeply connected to her community. She established a foundation aimed at providing support for those struggling with medical and financial hardships, a reflection of her own past struggles. The foundation's first initiative was a music therapy program designed to bring healing and hope to patients in hospitals and care centers, a cause close to Lila's heart. As summer faded into fall, the foundation hosted its inaugural gala, an event that brought together artists, philanthropists, and community leaders. The gala was not just a fundraising event, it was a celebration of resilience and the power of community support. Lila performed a set of songs, each chosen to reflect the themes of healing and hope that the foundation promoted. During the gala, Lila was approached by a documentary filmmaker, Elena, who was moved by Lila's mission and music. Elena proposed a project to chronicle Lila's journey from street performer to influential artist and philanthropist. Intrigued by the idea of sharing her story on a different platform, Lila agreed, hoping that the documentary would inspire others to pursue their dreams and support their communities. Filming began in earnest, capturing not just Lila's public engagements, but also her personal moments of reflection and connection with the people she was helping. The documentary included interviews with her mother, Clara, Jonathan, and others who had been key figures in her story. It painted a portrait of a woman who used her talents to ignite change and foster hope. As the project neared completion, Lila prepared for the documentary's premiere at a renowned film festival. The event was a convergence of art and activism, attracting a diverse audience eager to witness the power of music and determination portrayed on screen. The premiere was a poignant moment for Lila. As she watched her life unfold on the big screen, surrounded by people who shared her vision of a better world, she felt a profound connection to every person whose life had touched hers. The audience's response was overwhelmingly positive, with many moved to tears by the authenticity and emotion of her journey. Following the premiere, the documentary gained international attention, screening at various festivals and on television networks, further amplifying Lila's message and work. With each showing, her foundation received more support, enabling it to expand its programs and reach. Through all these developments, Lila continued to perform, write new music, and plan future projects that aligned with her artistic vision and social commitments. Her life, once a solo of survival, had transformed into a chorus of voices, all singing in harmony to create a melody of change and hope. As the year drew to a close, Lila found herself reflecting on the incredible journey she had undertaken. From the streets where she had sung to make ends meet to the global stage where her voice was heard by millions, her life was a testament to the belief that with passion and perseverance, anyone could change the course of their own song. As winter cast its long shadows, Lila embraced the reflective quietude it brought, using the season as a time for creative gestation and planning. Her foundation was thriving. Her music was touching hearts worldwide, and the documentary had sparked conversations about social responsibility and community support. Yet, Lila yearned to deepen her impact, to weave her narrative into larger global dialogues on art and healing. In this spirit, Lila began organizing an international conference titled Harmonies of Healing, which aimed to explore the intersection of music, wellness, and social change. The conference would gather musicians, therapists, activists, and scholars to share ideas, research, and stories that underscored music's role in fostering community well-being and personal resilience. The preparation for the conference was intense. Lila collaborated closely with experts in various fields to curate a program that was both enlightening and inspiring. As she delved deeper into the planning, she discovered new layers of her own understanding of music's power, which fueled her enthusiasm for the upcoming event. Meanwhile, her foundation launched a new campaign, Notes of Support, which provided musical instruments and lessons to underprivileged children across the globe. The campaign was personal for Lila. She remembered how her own musical journey began with a battered guitar and a handful of chords, gifts from a neighbor that had changed her life. As spring arrived, bringing with it a sense of renewal and growth, the Harmonies of Healing conference took place. It was hosted in a beautifully restored historic theater, a symbol of the city's commitment to arts and culture. Participants from over 30 countries arrived, each bringing unique insights and experiences that enriched the conversations. Lila opened the conference with a keynote address, sharing her journey and the transformative role music had played in her life. Her speech was met with enthusiastic applause, setting the tone for the days of engaging panels, workshops, and performances that followed. One of the highlights of the conference was a panel discussion featuring young musicians who had benefited from Lila's foundation. They spoke about their challenges and triumphs, each story a testament to the power of music to provide comfort, inspire confidence, and open doors to new opportunities. The conference concluded with a collaborative performance, involving artists from various countries. It was a vibrant celebration of cultural diversity and musical expression, embodying the spirit of unity that Lila had envisioned. The audience was captivated, moved by the harmonious blending of so many different styles and traditions. Following the success of the conference, Lila felt a profound sense of accomplishment and possibility. She realized that her work could serve as a catalyst for broader change, extending beyond her own narrative to support and inspire others. Motivated by this realization, Lila decided to write a book detailing her philosophy on the healing power of music, combined with stories from those she had met through her foundation and travels. The book project was another way to amplify her message and reach an even broader audience. As Lila embarked on this new chapter, she remained grounded in her music, continuing to write songs that reflected her evolving understanding of the world. Her life had become a beautiful symphony of initiatives, each note contributing to a larger harmony that sought to heal, unite, and inspire. With each passing day, Lila's vision expanded, her heart and mind always open to the endless possibilities that lay ahead. Her journey was a reminder that change doesn't come from the loud clamor of one, but from the echoing voices of many, all singing together in pursuit of a better world. The months following the Harmonies of Healing conference were a whirlwind of activity and inspiration for Lila. Her book project took shape, growing into a compelling narrative that intertwined her personal journey with the transformative stories of others. Each chapter was crafted with care, intended to inspire readers to explore the healing properties of music and consider its broader implications in societal well-being. Lila's commitment to her foundation remained unwavering. The Notes of Support campaign had successfully equipped hundreds of children with musical instruments, providing them with the tools to express themselves and explore new potentials. Lila often visited the music classes sponsored by the foundation, where the joy and laughter of the children playing their instruments reminded her of her own early days of musical discovery. As summer approached, the publication date for her book drew near. Anticipation built within the arts and cultural communities, and pre-orders began to mount. Lila planned a series of book signings and public talks, not just in her city but across several countries. Each event was designed to be more than just a promotion. It was an opportunity to engage communities in discussions about music, healing, and social change. Meanwhile, the impact of her documentary continued to ripple outward. It was now being used as an educational tool in schools and universities, sparking discussions about perseverance, the arts, and community support. Teachers and students reached out to Lila, sharing stories of how the documentary had inspired them to initiate their own community projects or start learning a musical instrument. In the midst of these developments, Lila was approached by an international arts organization to serve as an ambassador for their global campaign promoting cultural exchange and understanding through music. This role took her to various parts of the world, from bustling cities to remote communities, where she participated in music workshops, performances, and dialogues about the role of arts in bridging cultural divides. Each trip enriched Lila's perspective, deepening her understanding of the universal language of music and its capacity to connect disparate worlds. These experiences infused her music with new influences and themes, reflecting the diverse voices and stories she encountered. Upon her return from a particularly impactful visit to a music school in a war-torn country, Lila organized a benefit concert to raise funds and awareness for music education in conflict zones. The event was a poignant testament to the power of solidarity and the arts as a beacon of hope and healing. The concert featured performances by musicians from around the globe, each bringing their unique sounds and stories to the stage. The highlight of the evening was a collaborative performance by Lila and a group of young musicians she had met during her travels, their song a powerful anthem of peace and resilience. As the year drew to a close, Lila's book was released to critical acclaim. It quickly became a bestseller, lauded for its heartfelt storytelling and insightful reflections on the power of music. The book signings turned into impromptu gatherings of minds and spirits, where individuals shared their own experiences and dreams. Lila often found herself overwhelmed by the impact of her words and music, humbled by the way they resonated with so many. She realized that her journey was no longer just her own, but belonged to everyone who found a piece of their story in hers. With every note sung and every word written, Lila continued to forge a path of resonant pathways, her music and messages a continuous call to healing, understanding, and unity, in a world in desperate need of all three. The new year brought with it a fresh swell of possibilities for Lila. Her book had not only become a bestseller, but also a catalyst for community building and introspection among its readers. The depth of its impact reinforced Lila's belief in the profound connection between music and the human spirit, and she felt driven to expand her reach even further. The success of her book and the ongoing influence of her documentary had established Lila as a leading voice in the global conversation on art and healing. Universities, cultural institutions, and health organizations invited her to speak, eager to learn from her experiences and insights. Each engagement brought new opportunities to advocate for the arts as essential to personal and community well-being. During one such speaking engagement at a renowned international conference on public health, Lila met Dr. Amina Yusuf, a researcher specializing in the therapeutic effects of music on mental health. Dr. Yusuf was particularly interested in how Lila's initiatives could be integrated into public health strategies to support communities facing psychological trauma and adversity. Inspired by their conversation, Lila and Dr. Yusuf decided to collaborate on a research project that would study the effects of music therapy programs implemented through Lila's foundation. Their goal was to provide empirical evidence that could be used to support the expansion of music therapy in public health policies worldwide. As spring approached, Lila launched another ambitious project, the Global Harmony Series. This series of concerts and workshops was designed to showcase the diversity of musical traditions around the world and their common capacity to heal and unite people. Each event was structured as a cultural exchange, featuring artists from different backgrounds collaborating on stage, blending their musical styles in innovative ways. The kickoff event was held in a large metropolitan city known for its cultural diversity. Artists from over a dozen countries shared the stage, their performances a vivid tapestry of sound and emotion. Lila performed alongside a renowned classical violinist from Europe and a traditional drummer from Africa, their ensemble piece a stunning fusion that captivated the audience. This event set the tone for the rest of the series, which traveled to cities across continents, each concert unique yet unified by the theme of global harmony. The series not only entertained but also educated audiences about the richness of world cultures and the unifying power of music. Meanwhile, the research project with Dr. Yusuf began to yield promising results. Preliminary findings suggested significant improvements in the mental well-being of participants involved in the music therapy sessions. These results were presented at various academic forums, sparking interest and discussions on incorporating creative arts into more conventional therapeutic practices. Amidst her busy schedule, Lila continued to write and perform. Her second album, inspired by her travels and the personal stories she encountered, was in the works. It was shaping up to be a profound exploration of global rhythms and narratives, a reflection of her artistic and personal growth. As summer faded into fall, Lila felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The threads of her various initiatives, her music, her foundation, the Global Harmony Series, and the research project were weaving together into a cohesive impact on a scale she had once only dreamed of. Her journey had taught her that change was not just about the big moments on stage or the public accolades, but about the quiet conversations, the collaborative projects, and the personal stories of resilience that resonated with her music. With each step forward, Lila was not just echoing her melody across the globe. She was helping to orchestrate a grand symphony of change, one that played the hopeful, enduring notes of human connection and healing. As the year drew to a close, the culmination of Lila's efforts and dreams painted a vivid picture of transformation, not only within her own life, but also within the communities she touched. The Global Harmony Series had become a beacon of cultural unity, celebrated across continents for its innovative approach to merging music and dialogue. Meanwhile, her collaboration with Dr. Yusuf had sparked a significant movement in public health circles, advocating for the integration of music therapy into traditional healthcare systems. In the heart of winter, under the soft glow of the first snowfall, Lila prepared for what would be the grand finale of the Global Harmony Series, a concert to be broadcast worldwide, linking audiences across various time zones through the universal language of music. This event was set to not only entertain, but also to inspire action and foster a deeper sense of global community. The concert featured artists who had participated throughout the series, each performing from their own country, connected through live feeds. Lila, stationed in her hometown, orchestrated the event with a serene confidence, her voice tying together the diverse performances into a single, harmonious presentation. As she introduced each act, Lila reflected on her journey, from the street corners of her city to stages around the world. Each step had taught her more about the power of art to open hearts and minds, and now she was sharing this discovery on an unprecedented scale. The finale was a masterpiece of musical collaboration, with an original piece composed by Lila, performed simultaneously by musicians globally. As the final note lingered in the crisp winter air, the applause was not just for the music, but for the message it carried: hope, unity, and the healing power of shared human experiences. Post-concert, the feedback was overwhelming. Messages poured in from around the world, people expressing how the music had touched their lives, how it brought them joy, comfort, and a sense of connection in a time of global unrest and isolation. Motivated by the success of the event and the positive initial impact of the music therapy research, Lila and Dr. Yusuf co-authored a white paper outlining their findings and recommendations for policy changes. This document was presented at international health forums and quickly became a reference point for discussions on alternative therapies in mental health care. With her second album released to critical acclaim, building on the themes of her global travels and collaborative experiences, Lila's artistic profile continued to rise. Yet, despite her expanding influence, she remained deeply connected to her roots, frequently returning to the street corner where it all began to perform unannounced sets, much to the delight of passers-by and longtime supporters. Looking forward, Lila planned to expand her foundation's work, exploring new ways to use music as a tool for environmental advocacy. The idea was to connect the dots between ecological sustainability and cultural sustainability, promoting practices that ensured the health of the planet and its diverse cultures. As New Year's Eve approached, Lila stood on the rooftop of her building, overlooking the city that had seen her at her lowest and her highest. The skyline, a jagged rhythm against the horizon, seemed to pulse with possibilities, each light a note in the ongoing melody of her life. Reflecting on her journey, Lila felt a profound gratitude for every challenge and triumph. Her music had started as a means to an end, a way to survive, but it had grown into something far greater, a means to connect, to heal, and to inspire. With the dawn of the new year, she looked to the future, ready to continue her song, a song that was no longer just her own, but belonged to anyone who dared to dream and to act for a better world. Thus, the story of Lila, a beacon of hope and change, resonates as a powerful reminder of how passion, when paired with purpose, can orchestrate a symphony of change that echoes far beyond the individual into the heart of the collective human experience.